You're watching Beats of Fort Wayne.
Welcome in to another episode of Beats of Fort Wayne. We have a special one. We kind of previewed this episode today, and also just a heads up, I'm having some cam issues, but we're not the focus today. Our special, wonderful guests are, we have three musicians in today, Kaylin Tucker, Henry Jordan, and Jacob Kaufman, who are here to talk about their upcoming album release and performance at PFW. Like I said, we previewed it a little bit on last week's episode of Watching with Wayne. We have about 25 minutes, and I want to give us plenty of time to talk about it. So I guess our first thing is just kind of introduce yourselves.
My name is Jacob Kaufman. I am a teacher at the music for 28 years. I've spent several years on the road. I've probably had over 1,000 gigs under my belt. I'm a pretty experienced musician, bass player, and whatnot. And I started songwriting probably 6 years ago. I would say actually doing it successfully 2 or 3 years ago since I started taking songwriting classes at the university.
Well, my name is Henry, Henry Jordan. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. West Side is the best side. Thank you guys for having us here, by the way.
Of course.
This is kind of a long time coming. I've been playing music since I was 3. I played drums as a kid, grew up in church, still actively in church right now. But I've been playing drums since I was 3. Started playing keys around, I want to say 15, but I like the organ more, so I played organ for a while. And then when I moved out here, I actually came here. It's funny, I came here to be a lawyer. I came here to study in political science, and I saw the music department here and decided, like, this was my opportunity. If I want to make something out of this, I got to do it. So
Why did you never tell me that?
yeah, it's part of my story now. You know, that was the defining moment for me. That was when I decided to start playing keys, and now more people call me for keys than anything. So it's a blessing. Jacob was also, I had a pretty deep background in playing. I have a decent amount of experience playing in, different places and different settings. But Jacob was actually the first person at Purdue. I do go to Purdue. That's another thing. I've been going to Purdue for the last, this will be my actual last year coming up. 2027, but Jacob was actually the first person that asked me to be a part of a group here, and that's kind of what ended up starting this ongoing effect of me starting to be a part of the touring and the gigging in kind of industry out here and the bar scene, and just being able to experience a bunch of different things, recording, and eventually that's what led me to meet our lead singer, who is my favorite person in the room. But I'll let her explain.
Thank you for the segue. I'm Kaylin Tucker, and I am a graphic designer, singer-songwriter. I have always loved to sing. I've always loved just writing stories and creating different worlds within music. And I never really got a chance to showcase that talent until I met these two. I think what we do is pretty creative and just really cool. But it's so funny because I went to school for graphic design, and I just decided to do a music minor, and that's how I met these two. And yeah, I design in Indianapolis, and I'm just around.
Very cool. Well, I know you guys know Grace from college a little bit, and so she has some wonderful questions we're going to ask, so I'm basically just going to let her kind of take the floor from here. So.
Great. I kind of want to jump right into it. So you guys are kind of promoting this album release of A Cosmic Loop, The Heart of Iris. And I've heard a couple things about it being inspired by Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft. And I guess my first question is like, what about those works of literature made you, like, inspired you? Like, how did you get the spark of an idea? I'm like, I need to make music about this.
No, that's a Jacob question if
Yeah.
I've ever heard one.
Yeah,
So,
as a Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft fan myself, like I've got to know like what led you there. You know, like what pieces like made you want to make music from it.
So it's kind of a long story.
Okay,
But
great.
I will try to do the best that I can with. So my favorite movies are horror movies. I think I saw my first one when I was 15, and it scared the crap out of me. And then I watched another one, and another one, and another one, and then I just kind of fell in love. And it's kind of really the only type of movies that I sit and watch. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit to COVID-19. Because I just got done on a couple of tours with a few people, 2 bands, Dropsicle, and which was a kind of a hippie jam band kind of band, and then Rockstead, which was a rock reggae band, kind of in the vein of 311.
Oh, nice.
And then I joined up with a neo soul band, which was very short lived due to COVID. We were actually in the recording studio recording a single when the government shut down.
Aw.
And I had to stop working, went home, bored out of my mind. I watched a couple of movies. I saw The Void for the first time, and then I saw A Color Out of Space for the first time.
Okay, taste.
And those are 2 of my all-time favorite movies. They're both in the cosmic horror realm, and that kind of got my brain spinning just a little bit. My first project, while I was sitting around not doing anything during COVID, was trying to figure out how many horror movies I'd actually seen in my entire life. And I think I named 786 or so. It's pushed about 1,200 now, but
You log them in Letterbox and everything.
pretty much.
Okay.
Because I was
Yeah.
bored. I needed something to do. But I've always wanted to write an album, and my favorite albums are concept albums. I didn't bring my list with me, but like The Wall, Pink Floyd, is
Yes.
a great example of
Yes.
of what a concept album
Yeah.
is and whatnot. My favorite band, Mars Volta, almost every single one of their albums is a concept album. Delouse and the Comatorium is actually is based on their bass player killing himself.
Oh.
So it's a rather interesting album to dive into and whatnot. But I've always wanted to do a concept album. So I decided to start writing a story, and what better angle for me to go was cosmic horror, since I was most familiar with that. There've been many iterations of what ultimately became the Heart of Iris. But it's evolved since I initially started it. Initially, it was supposed to be just one single album. It's now pushing 7. And basically the way I am doing the songs is I'm trying to, in a nutshell, write each song as if it was a H.P. Lovecraft short story. So it's a compilation of a bunch of songs from a bunch of different perspectives, from a bunch of different characters who are involved in this cataclysmic incident. They're completely unaware of what's going on. They don't know that they're being controlled.
Wow.
So yeah, it gets pretty deep.
Well, okay, in 10 words or less, or if you can't make it 10, try to, briefly say, like, what is the narrative then? Like, what is this, like, if you had to very briefly say it?
I had the word in my head earlier today, and now I've forgotten it. Holy crap. Brainwashing.
Brainwashing?
Yeah. Brainwashing and a loop.
Brainwashing and a loop.
Time loop.
Time loop. That's 5.
The brainwashing and time loop would be the best way to
Wow.
describe it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And there's like a lot of sense of dread with like cosmic horror, like everything is out of your control, and and just like the general feeling of cosmic horror is like this entity just doesn't care about us little itty bitty
Yes.
humans, and that's what's so terrifying. So
Well, one of the big things that I wanted to do, and this kind of dives into the songwriting, and very, very important that I talk about this. It's one thing when you write a song where the music is just like a chord progression that helps you tell the story. Not only did I want to tell the story with the words, I wanted to also tell the story with the music
Yeah.
as well. And you can when you listen to the album once it's released, you will feel an ebb and flow in between all of the characters. For example, one of the characters, who is actually two characters, our main character Iris. I gave you guys a picture of the flyer. The tree is I call her future Iris, and then there is the Iris the past Iris, and they're in communication with each other. At least she thinks that's who she's in communication with. And the song, The Incident, is actually about that. It's about her getting in communication and then, without knowing it, losing the communication and being brainwashed by something else.
ooh, so like opening yourself up to, having that communication, but also to not so well-intentioned entities.
Yep.
That's interesting. Well, I guess that brings me, you kind of touched on it a little bit, your songwriting process, and I want to include you guys as well. What did that look like? So did you present your concept to the group and kind of like, this is what I want to convey, this is the feelings I want to convey? Or did it kind of start with like, here's a vibe I created with these chords or whatever element of songwriting, and then you started brainstorming your narrative around that?
It's pretty close. Everything starts off with a chord progression for me. Songwriters have different ways of going about it. Some people write lyrics first. Some people write a melody first. I always start out with a chord progression. I'm a bass player. I'm not a singer. I'm not a guitar player. So everything has to start around a chord progression. And then I think it's a lot easier for us to add to that and then create a melody around that. And that's where these two came in. So I presented a chord progression, lyrics, and so on and so forth, kind of the vibe of what I'm trying to get. And then the rest of the band kind of filled in the gaps. And it turns out they did a really good job.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could speak to it a little bit just because
Yeah.
there were a couple, me and Jacob and Kaylin. Honestly, I feel like that's why we're here because I feel like we've had the most conversations about what he wants to convey and the storyline, and more importantly, how he wants the music to bridge the gap between the thought process and the lyrics, and what the energy is being brought by whatever we're playing at that point. And there were a lot of moments where, for example, I See Myself Ahead Again. We have a lot of songs. I See Myself Ahead Again is a perfect example. The chord progression, when you listen to the song, you'll notice that every single phrase, every time you hear it, will seem longer. And he presented that to us, but when he talked about how he essentially wants the song to sound like it's growing and progressing as it continues, it's more than just increasing the progression, or at least that's how I took it. I felt like there needed to be certain instrumentation or certain things that were introduced. So, for example, there is a line that I'll play on the keys that you'll only hear in the second and third time that we go to the verse. You won't hear it the first time. But then when you hear it the third time, there's another portion of the chord progression that we all do after that kind of symbolizes, okay, well, this is how this chord progression is different. And it's not just about it being larger. There's, different instrumentations and runs, and, you can do anything. You can do mixing techniques or whatever you want to do to kind of make that pop. But we wanted that to be in the song. Obviously you can mix and you can master and you can, do all types of weird effects and reverb and all that. But we wanted the instrumentation to also give off that sense of chaoticness. Like, this is not the same as before. I want you to feel like, why this was not, he didn't play this in this the last time, and he's playing this chord progression the same pretty much every time he comes to it, but every time we get further into it, there's something different at the end. There's a different instrumentation used. The guitar players may change their lick to the point where, or change their riff to the point where it's the exact same thing, but they're playing one note minor instead of one note major. You know, we tried to get as detailed as we could with that type of stuff, and it turned into a method of storytelling that even when we were doing it, I didn't realize like how much that would affect our future product. But my dad always told me, you know, you want to maximize the present. And we tried to maximize whatever ideas. I mean, Jacob will tell you there were days where I threw 7 ideas at him and just told him to pick, because I was really adamant on just making sure that whatever we were doing was extremely precise. It was extremely detailed, and whatever story we were trying to tell, I wanted the music to do that. And it came out. It was a work in progress, but it came out the right way.
One thing I want to make sure I add to this, because this specific song is super important to know this. This song is based off of movies like Groundhog Day, where the character is moving and going through their daily life and whatnot, and then they die. And then they go back to the beginning and they repeat. But in our instance, our characters are learning the entire time. So each time they go through their journey, they die, they come back, they get further and further and further along until they reach the end of the journey. So that's the point of lengthening each section of the song.
Yeah, and to kind of add on that, like with the vocals, like I try to emphasize like feeling with how I sing and everything like that. Because you kind of have to think about it. These are characters, and what we are essentially trying to convey is what they're living. And so, you know, you kind of have to put those feelings in there and emphasize certain things along with the instrumental. Like there's a lot of songs that we've made where there's just a constant tension, and you just have to, there's no build to it either. You just kind of have to continue living in it and almost like, I guess, put yourself in it in the most cheesiest way possible. Just live it.
Wow.
So.
And Kaylin did a lot of letting us know when we were getting too weird. There were a lot of times where Kaylin would be like, okay, like we're telling a story, but like it's still a human for the most part. Like we still need to be speaking coherent English. You know, we still have, the words still have to fit. And she was a very big process, or a very big part of the process when it came to them writing and kind of figuring out how to tell the story and how to make it sound crazier without, you know, losing our audience, essentially, that type of stuff.
There's so many different perspectives, from our characters to the people listening to us making their world appear to the audience. Like there's so much back to back. We're in a cosmic loop at this point. Like it all just goes together. And you have to think about that for sure.
So going off of like the feeling and the feeling you want to curate, what is something that you want your audiences and your listeners to take away upon first listen? Like, what do you really like want? What headspace do you want to leave them with? What like message you want to leave them with? And what do you hope that, you know, what feeling do you hope that they like are really getting? Like, is it dread? Is it like, do you want to make them uncomfortable, confused, or do you want them to be like, whoa, that was awesome?
For me, I want them to be a little confused.
I was going to say confused, too.
I want them to be like, what the heck did I just listen to? You know, like I want them to be able to kind of like dissect what they just listened to, and not just the lyrics either. Like I want them to think about what our guitarist did and what they're hearing in the bass, and even the drums. Like our drummist, our drummer Austin, like he's just,
you might as well call him that.
Yeah, like he's just a drummist. That's what he is.
The way he be playing, he's so particular. And before you go, obviously, your say is going to be the most important about that. But
there's so much there. There's so much detail, like we've mentioned, and I would like them to be confused, a little disturbed maybe as well. But
and then, I mean, to piggyback on it, like the confusion, like I would I personally, I know when the story was presented to me, I wanted to thrive on that confusion. I want you to wonder why all of us are doing arpeggios in one section of the song, but none of us are in another one. You know, like I want that to be, and it's all in the same song, or like, why is the piano sounding like a bell in this song? You know, that type of thing. Like I wanted that to be kind of, because I feel like that's essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's half of what the story is built off of anyways. You'll get to know this more as you listen to the songs, but the majority of these people, our characters, Iris, for example, a lot of the time she is confused about what's going on, or thinks she knows what's going on, but has no idea. And I felt like the band really wanted to thrive off that energy. Like, I See Myself Ahead Again is such a great example of this. I See Myself Ahead Again is a great example of everything. Listen to that song when it comes out. But, for example, like like I said before, how the progressions will lengthen, and the things that we're doing in each portion of the progression, how those will change, that type of stuff. You're expecting the verse to be the verse every time. And that little change is going to cause confusion. I thought the verse was supposed to end by now. It's gone for 4 bars at this point. What's going on? Like, that type of, we wanted to thrive on that. And while that may not be the whole purpose, I felt like that was a really good thing to interpret through music. I feel like it's very easy to cause confusion when you're listening to something that you're expecting some sort of normalcy with.
Right. Like musical whiplash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying as
That's
hard as we
literally
can to kind of get that going. At least with a couple of them. Not every song is like that, obviously, but that confusion, that would definitely be a good word I'd use as well.
They both said that they wanted you to take the reins, even though you both seem so excited about it. But like, I want to hear from you too. Like,
It makes me smile how excited they are about this. It's any good cosmic horror movie, you're going to be left with a state of confusion and awe, and you're going to want to watch it again.
Exactly.
Any good one. That is,
trying
'cause
to figure out the puzzle and the mystery of it. Yes.
I recently watched, and I'm not going to like talk about the ending or anything, but I recently watched a movie called The Empty Man.
Oh my gosh, Ball. These are all great movies that you've been listing off. Yeah.
And and the second time that you watch that movie is better than the first time that you watch that movie. I like movies like that where you get a completely different sense. So with this album, you'll listen to it. If you want to get everything, you'll have to listen to it again. But we've designed everything so it's all basically a circle. It's all basically a loop. Every single song is a circular loop, and then the album starts where it begins.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm like, you're hyping me up for it. Like, I gotta listen to it, And
I should say one more thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully, next week we should have a single released.
fantastic.
There we go. Awesome.
Yeah.
A bit of a preview. You said it's going to be the incident, right?
Yeah, The Incident.
The incident.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah. I wish we had more time. I think it's been super cool just hearing your guys' just the whole creative process and diving into how you've put this together. Very cool. So thank you so much, Kaylin and Henry Jacob, for coming on. It was really cool just hearing you guys talk about it. Kind of as a little send-off. The performance at Purdue University Fort Wayne will be April 9th. At Neff Hall from 7 to 9. Free entry, no tickets needed. So just come on down and hear them perform. And so thanks again, you guys, for coming on, and we really appreciate your time. And
Thank you.
Before you end, shout out Cam, shout out Aiden, shout out Austin. Those are our guys. Those are our bandmates. Couldn't have done any of this without them. All of them are incredible. Tyler as well. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on some of our stuff too. So
Fantastic.
shout out to all of them. Like I want to make sure I name it. Did I forget anybody?
No, not on the album.
Okay, yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, sure. Shout out to all of those guys. They made everything possible, and
Good stuff. Yeah.
we wouldn't be us if it wasn't for them. So yeah.
Aw.
awesome.
sure-
So thank you guys again for coming on so much, and for Grace and I here on Beats of Fort Wayne. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
You're watching Beats of Fort Wayne.